Well, thank you for that warm introduction. Always talk to your plants. Sit back and watch them flourish. Good advice. Of course, we presume that all plants speak English. Speak slowly. Watch them bloom. If necessary, shout each syllable. Their little airs are ready vessels for a shower of the Queen's vowels. Never mind if it's a China rose or an African violet. Better yet, recite a bit of English lit. See abundance spring at your fingertip. So I spoke like an Oxford don to my wilted rhododendron. It wilted more. As for my drooping shrub, my words only seem to draw more slugs. I watch my immigrant neighbor's patio with a sense of distant envy. Tell me, plants, what is it that makes you grow? Must I address you in Punjabi? Now, the fascinating thing about the English language, it's a marvelous metaphor for people from a wide range of cultures contributing to one stream. Words we take for granted: anorak from the Inuit people, hammocks from the Amerindian, hamaka. The way you've got hurricane from the Carib god of the hurricane, Huracan. Words from the Arabic, of course, Greek, Latin. It's just the most powerful icon of what happens when different streams pool their energies, very often under brutal historical circumstances. But this is in the voice of a newscaster. He's reporting. It's called Reporting from the Frontline of the Great Dictionary Disaster. Why has the English dictionary grown so thin? Why is it weeping between its covers? Because today is the day that all words of foreign origin return to their native borders. Linguists are rioting in the streets. Crossword lovers are on hunger strike. And words are voting with their feet. Familiar objects across the British Isles have staged a mass evacuation. Anoraks seen going off backs, making their Inuit tracks. Bananas, hands forming a queue, now bound for a Bantu rendezvous. Hammocks leave bodies in mid-swing and billow back to a Carib beginning. Pajamas, without regard to size or age, take off on a Hindu pilgrimage. Sofas huddle themselves into caravans. Their destinations, the Arabian sands. Even baguettes, as we speak, grab the chance to jump the channel for the south of France. This is a tragedy turning into a comedy, for reports are reaching us by satellite that in the wee hours of the night, the ghosts of ancient Greeks and Romans have been preparing an epic knees-up to mark the homecoming of their wordhood. Stay tuned for live and direct coverage. On this day, a dictionary mourns its language. Of course, we owe a lot to animals for our language. We take it for granted, but you speak of a spy as being a mole. You speak of a bee in your bonnet. You're wolfing down your food. A busy city is a rat race. Thinking of animals and thinking of language inspired a book for children called We Animals Would Like a Word With You. And I see you've got one young child in the audience who actually has that book. So I'll do one poem from that book. It's in the voice of the rats. I'll do it specially for him tonight. Rat race, don't make us laugh. It's you, humans, who are always in a haste. Ever seen a rat in a bowler hat, rushing to catch a train? Ever seen a rat with a briefcase, hurrying through the rain? And isn't it a fact that all of that hurry gives you humans heart attacks? No, my friends, we rats, relax. Pass the cheese, please. This one inspired by puddings from the Bloodaxe collection, we Brits. Forever afters. Served as always for the last. The tail end of the menu. The main course's epitaph. A pudding knows the meaning of waiting. One turns in queue. Patience is what puddings know best. And when all face the final test, on that day of reckoning, puddings will array their glory, down to the smallest gooseberry. For every pudding knows one truth, that the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Yes, puddings shall have the last laugh, when the sweet inherits the tooth. Now, some of this book is inspired by historical characters, but the history is so fascinating that it would inspire, I think, many poets. You read about Darwin. Some books will tell you when he was in Edinburgh, he was taught by a black. Some books give the man a name, John Edmonstone. A fascinating moment of history. John Edmonstone, a freed black slave, giving taxidermy lessons to Darwin. So when he went off on the Beagle, knowing that skill of taxidermy was crucial, I say here, the freed black slave who taught Darwin taxidermy in Edinburgh, 1826, the Ascent of John Edmonstone. My name rings no bell in the airs of science, but footnotes know me well. Footnotes where history shows its true colors, and passing reference is flesh. For I am John Edmonstone, whose name is little known to evolution's white ladder. But Darwin will remember me. Just say the black man who taught him Egypt's ancient art of taxidermy. To think that we should meet in Edinburgh, of all places, few doors apart on Lothian Street. No mention then of savage races. In those days we were two bird stuffers, mounting mortality in feathers. We were each other's missing link, colleagues, upright on a chain of being, a pair of wingless apes, condemned to think. And to show you the incredible paradox and complexity of human beings, you sit around your radio or TV, you listen to songs of praise on a Sunday, you hear that marvelous hymn, Amazing Grace, how sweet thou art to save a wretch like me. So many pop singers have done versions of that song, composed by a slave ship captain, John Newton, 1725 to 1807, who later turned to the ministry. But you can see the words begin to take on more flesh. Amazing grace, how sweet thou art to save a wretch like me. This is called Newton's Amazing Grace. It's in his voice. Grace is not a word for which I had much use, and I skippered ships that did more than bruise the face of the Atlantic. I carved my name in human cargo without a thought of shame, but the sea's big enough for a man to lose his conscience, if not his puny neck. In the sea's eye, who is this upstart speck that calls himself a maker of history? It took a storm to save the dumb wretch in me. On a night, the winds weighed heavy as my sins. I spared a thought for those poor souls below deck. Terror made rough waters my Damascus road. Amazing grace began to lead me home. Lord, let my soul's come be measured by a hymn. I think it'd be good fun for you to stand for this one. I'll tell you why. This is the alternative anthem. And I might need your help in this. Even if you know how, if you can stand for this one for me. Pay respect to the alternative anthem. Put the kettle on. Put the kettle on. It is the British answer to Armageddon. Never mind taxes rise. Never mind trains are late. One thing you can be sure of, and that's the kettle, mate. It's not whether you lose, it's not whether you win, it's whether or not you plug the kettle in. May the kettle ever hiss, may the kettle ever steam. It is the engine that drives our nation's dream. Line by line after me. Long live the kettle. Long live the kettle. That rules over us. That rules over us. May it be lime scale free. May it be lime scale free. And may it never rust. And may it never rust. Sing it on the beaches. Sing it on the beaches. Sing it from the housetops. Sing it from the housetops. The sun may set on empire. The sun may set on empire. But the kettle never stops. Thank you for that. I'll do some from this other Bloodaxe collection. At this moment, we can prematurely give a hand to Bloodaxe, who later on celebrating their 30th anniversary. A big hand to Bloodaxe. And it's nice to know that Neil Astley, our tireless, voracious eater of poetry, is here. Now this book, I had great fun writing this book, The Devil's Pulpit. The devil has had a very bad press. As I began to read about the devil, I was intrigued. Every iconic symbol that you think of as being good and holy, you will find a parallel in the devil. You can take the name Lucifer, which means in Latin, bearer of light. So Lucifer, said to have fallen from grace, God's most beautiful angel. You think of the horns that you carry around on Halloween night, the trident, associated with Shiva, associated with Cernunnos, the Celtic god of agriculture. Very often, pagan gods are demonized, and then you have that Christian layer on top. You think of the word demon, and you can think of daemon, like duende, that spirit that gives the flamenco dancer passion, that gives D.H. Lawrence's passion. He speaks of the daemon. The horns, and you've got the crescent moon, the horned goddess, Diablo, the devil. You can find endless permutations. One legend has it that when Lucifer fell, from his crown came an emerald, and from that emerald gem you have the Grail legend. It's arguable, but the fact that in folkloric psyche we think these things is enough. There is a proverb, I use many, but this one is from the Irish. God is good, and the devil isn't bad either. You know, I grew up in the Caribbean, went to Roman Catholic schools. My secondary school was mainly Jesuit priests. We had a few what they call laymen, and all boys schools, so we had an introduction to the devil. If you're a Roman Catholic, you do connect easily to the devil. In this book, the devil is a shapeshifter, sometimes male, sometimes female, sometimes animal. But I'll do a quick sequence for you. He's addressing Eve in the garden. The section is called Applecalypse. Eva. Mind if I call you Eva? Have you got something against fruit? Come on, Eva, speak the truth. Have you truly experienced the absolute yum of plum? The afterglow of avocado, the summery of strawberry, the fleshly figment of fig. Don't tell me you're allergic to the mythic munch of pomegranate, the oracular pulp of orange, the glandular grapple with a simple apple, a veritable juice downpour in the valley of the throat, and if I may misquote, an apple a day keeps the devil away. Hey, none of this Beelzebub business. Lighten up. No more Prince of Darkness and all that devil advocate kind of stuff. I'm your mate. It's all right to call me Dev. And I'll call you Les, or Mads, or Trev. Formality stinks. Don't say evil, say Ev. Now there's a section called Lead Us into Temptation, a quotation by Mae West. I generally avoid temptation unless I can't resist it. I think they said, Oscar Wilde also said that. But the devil embraces two characters, Pandora, as you know, with her box containing hope. Lady G, Lady Godiva, riding naked through the streets of Coventry. I was curious by one bit of folklore when they said nobody was supposed to peep. Apparently someone did. A tailor's son. His surname was Peeping. His Christian name was Tom. Whether genuine, apocryphal, as they call the word, big word, we don't know, but that's part of the folklore. Peeping Tom, so they say, the origin. So the devil addresses Pandora. What's a box for, if not to be opened? What's temptation for, if no one succumbs? A box becomes news when someone like you looks inside for clues to the universe. Call it a blessing, call it a curse, no more guessing. Go on, Pandora, my inquiring daughter. Remove the lid of your curious grail. Hope will not fail. Ride on, Lady G. What's the good of riding in naked glory through the streets of a town if you can't catch the public eye? No crowd standing by to urge you on, sister. No photographer from the local press to record your protest. Not even a snap for the family album, so your grandchildren can see Grand's bum beside a horse's. Unless, of course, one breaks the promise of barred doors and drawn curtains. That's where I come in. Know what I mean, Lady G? Pee-pee will, pee-pee won't. Temptation says, try. And so a tailor's eye becomes immortalized, and your posterior rides into posterity. Blessed are the meek. If someone smites you on the left buttock, turn the other cheek. You'll be greeted by a nice cup of coffee when you get to heaven, and strains of angelic harmony. But wouldn't you be devastated if they only serve decaffeinated, while from the percolators of hell your soul was assaulted by Satan's fresh espresso smell. Question time with the devil. When cries of heresy followed women to the final stake, did the devil help to stoke the flames? When webs of ancestry became nameless cargo in a ship, did the devil chart and log the trip? When walking elegies were smothered in a womb of gas, did the devil supervise the task? When the desert bloomed with bodies and the mother of battles wept, did the devil count the score of death? When tribal rivalry tore the heart out of Rwanda, did the devil share in the plunder? When divided loyalty likewise made the heart of Ireland bleed, did the devil dance a jig and reel? When Bosnia shed its grief down the smooth cheeks of a TV screen, did the devil have a peaceful sleep? Oh, what would you do without me to blame? But was it one with horns and fiendish looks who pushed the button and wrote the history books? I give you half a minute to reply. Progress. The toad's jewel has erupted into venom. The flowering shrub has drawn a pilgrimage of slugs. The split atom has blossomed into a bomb. The glinting ore has grown a constellation of swords, and the cloned goat ponders its bearded look-alike in a blazing mirage of knowledge. I mentioned earlier these amazing parallels of good and evil. We speak of the sacrificial lamb, Jesus. We speak of the sacrificial goat, the scapegoat. Again, what's happening is a totality of parallel forces that seem to open roads in our lives. You always find that parallel. According to one other legend, Islamic, I think, that Lucifer was a kind of twin brother to Jesus. So you have a counterpoint of dialogue going on. Are these the two powerful forces that battle within human nature? Bridge builder I am, between the holy and the damned, between the bitter and the sweet, between the chaff and the wheat. Bridge builder I am, bridge builder I am, between the goat and the lamb, between the sermon and the sin, between the princess and Rumpelstiltskin. Bridge builder I am, bridge builder I am, between the yoni and the lingam, between the darkness and the light, between the left hand and the right. Bridge builder I am, bridge builder I am, between the hex and the hexagram, between the chalice and the cauldron, between the gospel and the gorgon. Bridge builder I am, between the storm, the calm, between the storm, the calm, between the nightmare and the sleeper. between the cradle and the reaper. Bridge builder I am, bridge builder I am, between the serpent and the wand, between the hunter and the hare, between the curse and the prayer. Bridge builder I am, bridge builder I am, between the hanger and the hanged, between the pearls and the swine, between the water and the wine. Bridge builder I am, bridge builder I am, between the hanger and the hanged. For how can you stop the dance of eternal balance?